Hey everybody, welcome to our weekly ecosystem office hours call. I am your host Jinx and joined as always by the best and brightest in the Pocket ecosystem. I am sicker than hell today with the ETHDenver plague, as we have started calling it. So excuse me in advance for sniffles and coughs. They are probably going to happen. First, before we get into anything else, I do want to make sure if you are a technical stakeholder within Pocket Network as a node runner or anything else along that line, please make sure that you can see the migration working group channel in our public Discord. And if you are, someone who needs to actively participate in that conversation and you can't post, DM me or tag me in one of the channels there, and I'll make sure that we get your role added in. We are on the final approach now to our Shannon upgrade, and we want to make sure that all of our technical stakeholders are actively part of the conversation. We are going to need everyone tightly coordinated around that. So please double check that today or whenever it is that you're hearing this recording, and again, tag me or DM me if you can't access it. So starting off with foundation updates. Gabby, do we have anything that we need to update this week?
I think we are business as usual. You've already mentioned the migration. Yeah, I think we're good to go.
Beautiful. Well, in that case, let me hand over to Fred for protocol updates.
Thank you, Jinx. I'll work my way down the list here. Starting off with Shannon. WebSockets PR is now live on testnet. We are still going through the process of end-to-end validation. That should be this week, if not next. And once that's there, that means that if you are running a gateway on Path, you can facilitate WebSockets end-to-end on Shannon. And it works with suppliers. It's going to be awesome. Really, really excited about this feature. It opens a lot of doors having this interface available. Per Jinx's comment, we are getting closer and closer to mainnet, which we're trying to kind of harden out some more concrete dates per the community asks. We're a few weeks out, so once we get close and we really feel it and we know it, we'll put a date out there. But really, we're very focused on the migration aspects, moving from Morse to Shannon, and just shoring up a lot of performance areas on the protocol. So no major glaring feature development is going on right now, and I think that's a really good thing. I think that means that we're very close now. We're in the final descent, as Jinx put it. So moving on into Path, lots of feature development going on here. So first thing when we talk about Path is that we are getting ready to start shadowing traffic that would hit the portal over to Path, which means that we will have some percentage of our traffic that Grove is facilitating on Pocket Morse will go through Path. I think this is a really exciting milestone. And from there, obviously, we will be growing. We're doing a kind of pseudo strangler method where we're generally phasing out the portal middleware. With that, the IAC kind of underpinnings, the infrastructure as code, are now kind of in place as we get ready to roll over to Path. So we moved actually off of the cloud for this one, and we are using a bare metal provider. So this should cut costs majorly, but the reason that we made this decision is that we thought that many of the other providers who want to run Path will likely be in a bare metal situation. Obviously, it's easier to lift something that's from bare metal onto the cloud than it is to take something that is kind of purpose-built. If we said, hey, this only works on GCP or AWS, that might be a non-starter for certain folks for privacy reasons or otherwise. Moving right down the list, there's two other things here on the Path side. We have more QoS upgrades coming through. So two big features really here, which is kind of the sanctions, which is the timeouts and how long a node is timed out, are now live, as well as maxing out the node. So right now on Morse, there is a limited number of relays that a node can serve in a session, and knowing the gateway being smart enough to not pick that one that's been maxed out is the feature. And very important feature. We use it all the time on the portal today. Last thing for Path is preparing kind of the bones for a data pipeline for path operators, but also we will be taking this and kind of morphing this to meet our existing data pipelines that we have for the portal. We are not deprecating those. Those will come with us. But that's all proprietary and completely unnecessary for a general gateway operator. But we want to put the bones and the scaffolding in if someone wants to do something similar to what we're doing, that you can take that, morph it, and fit it to your data pipeline for your data needs. To close out, just general Grove updates from the portal. We are preparing to list XRPL EVM testnet, and we have deprecated XRPL EVM devnet and Berachain BRDO testnet. Berachain BRDO has been deprecated by Berachain, and the devnet is kind of the RPC demand on that now that we've moved to testnet should be drastically reduced. And we worked with Ripple and PureSys, and they agreed that we don't need to supply RPC for that chain at this time. Final thing to close out here is we've been very focused on stability. We're saying internally that the portal as it exists today is officially on life support. So it kind of is what it is right now. We aren't making any further changes to it until we go live on Path. And so if you want to stay tuned and if you think there are issues with the portal, I urge you to go to the Path repository, open PRs, and fix those issues in Path prior to us going live. That's all I got. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thanks, Fred. Any additional Grove updates, Art?
No, not at this time. We're just deepening a couple relationships that we already have, but I don't want to talk about them just yet.
Love those teasers. Had a great time out at ETHDenver this week as well, and got to spend a little bit of in-person time with some of the teams out there. It was really awesome seeing everybody, and we had some really great introductions from a lot of folks in the agentic space. I think one of our best events of the entire week was a private breakfast that we had with a number of teams that are developing new agentic model systems, and especially in payments and other types of decentralized information space. So like a really great direct tie-in to what our mission is for the future. Hoping to see a lot more of that soon. And if you keep an eye on the Pocket Twitter, you'll probably see some of those folks tagged out in short order. Do we have any of the PGA teams want to give an update today on their progress? Well, I'll consider that a no for right now.
Sorry.
Hey, Meredad.
Yeah, it took me a minute to find the unmute button. I was multitasking. Yeah, an update from our side. We're working towards our final MVP. Our front end is almost finished. It needs a bit of time, but we're working towards it. We are working with our integration with Pocket. We do need a service from your side because if I'm not mistaken, and if the status hasn't changed, the service that is available right now on Shannon is only Ethereum testnet. And we also addressed it in the group and in the server. So we're waiting on that feedback. And generally, things are going great on our side. We also made a couple of new partnerships. We're talking with them. It's not final yet, but we have a lot of news coming on in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. Have you guys talked with Jeff, Quantum Spider, on getting an additional service set up?
I think we're in the channel. We're in discussion. I'm not the one leading that. Is one of my teammates, but I'll definitely ping him and connect them if they haven't been connected yet.
Perfect. Sounds good. And any other updates from PGA teams? Okay. Well, we'll be looking for more of that in the future. And I think that's all of our scheduled updates for this week. So it's y'all's open time now. So questions, comments, topics, anything that y'all want to chew on today?
I should make a brief announcement. There's a time
Sure.
here. Regarding the voting for the DAO Oversight Committee, it concluded last week, and Ramiro, Breezy, both on this call, and myself were elected, and Tracy is the stand-in or substitute or backup, and we're going to get to work shortly. Not a lot to do, but we're going to be picking up the cudgel and moving very promptly. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir. Glad to hear it. And it's nice to see some well-known names around the ecosystem who have, I think, a good grasp on what's important to the ecosystem from that perspective moving forward. Tim asks also, yeah, if you're not able to come off mute, you are welcome to post your questions or topics to the sidebar chat, and we will answer them as well. Tim asks, have any of the other gateways or apps mentioned they plan to increase traffic post-Shannon, or do you anticipate Grove traffic dominance to continue for some time? That's a really broad question. I know that we have been having additional conversations with some of the existing gateways who have outlined some difficulties that they've had in the past, and that, if they can see those difficulties resolved, primarily around QoS and the level of data involved in like error reporting and things along that lines. So they have indicated that they certainly have a lot more traffic to send our way, assuming that those things are addressed. So I think at this point, post Shannon, the landscape is sort of up in the air. I don't think that there's any particular expectation of dominance from a specific entity. I mean, Grove may very well continue to be one of the larger or even largest single relay sources over time, but part of the post-Shannon landscape is expanding laterally or horizontally. And, thousands of individual apps staked against the protocol could very well be responsible for a greater total amount of traffic than any single entity in the ecosystem. And that's, horizontal expansion is a big part of what we're moving towards with the permissionless nature of Shannon. So, I would say the landscape is entirely up in the air. It's hard to say. Other questions?
I want to mention one thing because I believe I mentioned it a little bit last week, but the average gateway does between like 50 and 60 million requests and 1 to 2 billion requests a day. We're talking about centralized providers, so I just want to make sure that is you all are aware. This comes from like at least a year's worth of conversations where I've been able to finagle those numbers from various other RPC gateways, like to just baseline everything. So yeah, just throwing that out there. With WebSocket support, I don't know what that's going to add for us. We'll see. But as Fred mentioned last week, we already have that live on both Path and Shannon. And we definitely have customers lined up. I have at least 2 customers that ask me weekly, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" And I tell them soon, every single time, sometime in Q2. So there might be an increase, but I do want to kind of benchmark this, that we do not know of a single gateway that does 10 billion requests a day on their own or anywhere near that. It's going to be a grouping of gateways doing it. And I will finish with our Grove's metric for success is long-term metric for success is the growth in relays across distributed sources. That is a number that needs to grow up and to the right at all times, meaning that for every gateway we add through using Path, then they need to add a significant amount of relays as well for this number to continuously grow in that direction. And that is kind of how we look at success here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't personally have any sense of the size of the gateways that would be adding on to the protocol, but we certainly see enterprise class providers like Grove being a significant portion of traffic on the protocol. Other questions? It's funny, Tim, is there have been calls where it's like nonstop questions across the whole hour, or even contentious debate around proposals and things along that line. And then some calls where there's just like nothing really outstanding. We're hitting on all cylinders. We have a good sense of where things are. Um, I think we're all kind of hovering around, watching and waiting to when the final migration timeline goes live. So that's a huge deal, and a lot of things just fundamentally aren't really going to happen until post Shannon. So that's a big consideration for a lot of folks. I see Anaski's typing in chat. When moon. Well, Rose's general answer is after you sell, of course. Well done, Fred, on the ball. Yeah, we're certainly looking. It's been it's been tough as hell seeing the market and obviously a significant amount of turbulence and volatility. Somebody described it as a kangaroo market recently. That's it's definitely that. And hoping to see that the value on the value that's being added by Pocket will be recognized by the market in short order. All fingers crossed on that. I think we've all been hanging for a long time waiting to see that happen. And yes, B Sharp asks, are we on schedule with Shannon upgrade? Fred says yes, and I can also confirm that in all of our coordination with Grove, yes, we are very much on schedule. Yeah, Fred has dropped the roadmap, the GitHub roadmap in the chat there. You can also access links to that from, there you go. Once again, on the ball at grove.city/roadmap. And that has both the path and Shannon upgrade roadmaps that are in there. And if you're an engineer type, do what I do. Subscribe to the GitHub and check the PRs and the updates as they come in. That's an easy way. When I'm checking my email in the morning, I can see a number of emails from what's happening in the actual repos and what things are being worked on and where, which over my coffee is an awesome thing. And yes, please star. You will contribute in some small way by doing that. I have to say it was really great being able to spend time specifically with folks in the Pocket ecosystem at ETHDenver. We saw aside from spending time with Olshansky, which is always a pleasure because he is just like one of those dudes who is so excited about what he does, and it's hard not to have that enthusiasm be infectious when you listen to him talk about it. But also meeting the Node Fleet guys and Weaver's Nodes guys and some of the other folks out there. I really, really appreciate being able to share some meet space time with y'all. And anybody else, if you're a node runner in the ecosystem or any other type of provider, would love to hang out and chat more about your experience with the ecosystem. If you're going to be in Tampa Bay area, hit me up, DM me. I will make time for you 100%. Any details about migration process? That is in the process of being written right now. The foundation will be creating a high-level migration guide, and that will incorporate the documentation that is coming out from Grove around the specifics of their process, along with outlining what our steps are within the ecosystem. If you're in the migration working group channel, you'll see that we have our draft checklist in already, which outlines the sort of day of go live process, and we very much encourage people reviewing that, beating on it. And if you have suggestions about important steps on the checklist that should be part of that consideration, please feel free to drop comments or anything else along that line. We want as many eyeballs on that as possible in the next couple of weeks so that we know for a fact we have accounted for every possibility. Also, Lowell, who is our engineering lead on the migration working group side, is putting together our testing process on Shannon. We will be running the entire cutover as a test sequence in testnet. Do you happen to have a rough date set for the 10 billion relay load test? I am we are not going to give that date just yet, but it absolutely is happening. We have confirmed on that. There are a couple of things that we're working out, primarily around the details of infrastructure required from a testnet node perspective, and also working on how to absorb the cost of serving up that level of traffic, which has hard infrastructure costs. So as soon as we have worked out some of that, then we'll go ahead and set a hard date around that. We've already talked about that with Truth Cartel, our marketing group, who would of course like to use that as a significant marketing and PR opportunity. So stay tuned, more details to follow. I can give you a date for when the date will be set. How about that? I will probably have the 10 Billy Day relay date set by this time next week. Other questions, topics? Okay, well, like it when it's easy. Thanks everybody once again for coming to our weekly calls and updates. This is your single best time to get answers directly from the horse's mouth. So always encourage y'all to be here. See you again, same time next week, same location.
Thanks everybody. Thanks, Jinx.